Well, hello there, and welcome to your childhood drama. Today we're going to look at a certain story that you might have heard. The 10 Commandments? No, that's next time. We're going to talk about the 10 Plagues. Sit tight, relax, grab yourself a fancy drink, and let's dive into your childhood drama. All hoity-toity accents aside, welcome to this brand new series. This one is a bit of an experiment, and I hope you enjoy it. Back in the early 80s, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, hereafter called Watchtower Babble Crap Society, released a set of audio dramas that covered various biblical events. And what would happen is they would be released at what were then called district conventions, and you would see people pantomiming the actions on stage dressed in full costume with usually locally constructed and rather cheap-looking sets for the various scenes. From what I understand, today's drama, the first in a series of 14, was audio only. There was nobody acting out anything on stage at all conventions, except for a few. And what I did hear was at some conventions when they did certain things like the frog plague, well, paper frogs were thrown all over the stage. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get diving right into Jehovah's name to be declared in all the earth.
Jehovah, the name of Almighty God.
No, 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 no.
The Bible book of Exodus, chapters 5 through 15, records a drama that has thrilled lovers of that name for generations. It is the story of Moses and the Israelites released from slavery, led up out of Egypt with a vast mixed company of others.
So after this rather dramatic introduction, where Watchtower Babble Crap Society claims that God's name is Jehovah, which, well, that's been thoroughly debunked, they talk about this drama that is still thrilling to us today. And I will admit, when I was a kid, this was my favorite Bible story. I listened to this drama and its direct sequel back to back over and over again many times. I was often seen in the living room with giant headphones on, hooked into the stereo system, and while others were outside playing or just watching TV, I would be sitting there listening to this drama over and over again. It got to the point where I could even speak the lines in unison with the people, inflection and all. Nerd! I was an awkward kid. Give me a break. So our drama opens up with the great and wonderful and mighty powerful Pharaoh, who incidentally kind of sounded a lot like my grade 4 teacher, Jim Norris. He had a very similar kind of style of speaking. And Pharaoh's all high on himself, and everybody is worshiping Pharaoh like a god, which, from what I understand from ancient Egyptian history, this is actually the truth. The pharaohs were worshipped as a god. Much like Shintoism looked at the emperor as a divine being, same kind of idea here in ancient Egypt. And Moses and Aaron, sent in by
God Almighty Jehovah,
at least as he's known here in this story, are sent in before Pharaoh to say, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh, of course, is having none of it.
Oh, Moses and Aaron. How dare you slave agitators be so bold as to appear before Pharaoh?
You done messed up, Aaron!
Why? Because, well, you see, Jehovah himself had told Moses in advance, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. So Pharaoh was kind of screwed right from the very beginning. And what this sets up is a massive drama of a whole great bunch of spectacle back and forth between God in heaven and Pharaoh's magic practicing priests. The first plague, of course, is turning the water into blood. And what I really have to laugh at with this one is that the Nile River and all water around Egypt is also turned to blood. So the Israelites, they don't even have water to drink. And remember, Moses is here to help them out, but he's already made things worse.
Look, there's Moses, Aaron too.
Troublemakers for all of us.
May Jehovah look upon you and judge Moses and Aaron.
Why did you have to go in and speak to Pharaoh?
You made us smell offensive before Pharaoh and all his servants.
They'll kill us all.
And you told us we'd be delivered.
Better off the way we were.
He's already made things worse for them because now they don't even get to be given straw in order to make bricks. They have to go and get it themselves. Moses, you're off to a great start. Jehovah, you're doing wonders with this water thing. If you were an Israelite back then, I don't think you would want this to go any further. You'd be like, no, time out, stop, Moses, just go away. It's all right, brah. We'll take it from here. After a few days, there's no water to drink. Everything stinks. Everything in the river dies. Really great. So now everybody's dying of thirst. But, Jehovah, turning the screws on Pharaoh, you're going to have to suffer through 9 more of these. Have fun. So then Moses comes back and says, okay, if you are still going to refuse to let the people go, even though Jehovah is hardening your heart, sucker, now the Nile River is going to teem with frogs. And sure enough, we are treated to an audio montage of frogs everywhere.
Stop your screaming, you silly, sniveling slave women! You're worse than the frogs!
Whoa, sexist!
Now, the thing that I love about this particular plague is it's driving everybody nuts. But the magic practicing priests in this drama, called Jannies and Jambries, are like, well, don't worry, Pharaoh. We can do that too.
O goddess of frogs, Hex, breather of life, bring forth frogs!
So, Moses has not done something so clever after all. But we don't need more frogs. Get rid of these. That's what I want, Jambries.
Pharaoh, I'm with you on this one. So then the third plague begins, and now this is gnats. And, well, gnats are basically tiny little bugs. And you can Google what gnats look like. In fact, here's a picture of what a gnat might look like. Pesky little buggers. And this plague as well affects the Israelites. So they've already had it rough with being whipped, being tortured day in and day out with this backbreaking work of making bricks to build the pyramids. Now they have to gather their own straw to make these bricks. Then they have no water, So, yay. Then they also have to deal with frogs that are coming out of the stinky Nile River and getting into their bread and Pharaoh's bread. And then they have to deal with these bugs. 3 plagues. 3 against them as well. What did they do? I have no idea. But it just seems like Jehovah is getting his wires crisscrossed or something. I don't know. 3 plagues against everybody. And then Jehovah says,
Well, now I'm going to make a distinction between my people and your people.
So now the Israelites finally get a reprieve. Imagine if you were an Israelite back then. You would be thinking to yourself, why am I trusting this God again? He's making my life a whole lot worse. You told us we'd be delivered. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, brah. And what follows afterwards are several more plagues where Moses announces the plague. Then it happens. Then Pharaoh says, oh, please, 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 I'm so sorry. Just turn the plague away from me, please. And then I'll let your people go. And then, because Jehovah, nope, not going to let your people go. And, okay, on to the next plague, because, we have to do 10 of these.
For this cause I have kept you in existence, for the sake of showing you my power, and in order to have my name declared in all the earth.
3 isn't enough. It's got to be 10. So, a couple of highlights here. There are just some plagues where Pharaoh starts to give Moses some ideas, it seems, in this drama.
Oh, gods of Egypt! Are this Moses and his God Jehovah going to bring us all to the land of the dead? May my God Amun-Ra so do to me and more before I let those Hebrews go. Moses and Aaron, look, see? The sun god still rules brightly in the heavens, and you Hebrews are not free.
You're just not helping anybody, Pharaoh. Least of all, your own cause. I mean, you're just practically handing Jehovah ideas on how to torture you. But finally, the most heinous crime of them all. The 10th plague, where everybody is told that they are going to get to leave after this. But, because the Bible is so full of apparent foreshadowing, and Jehovah is really huge on pomp and circumstance and ritual, he introduces this Passover, which later on would be celebrated year after year. And the Passover basically means that you have to go out, slaughter a lamb.
Have no fear, for God is near, and God loves all his children.
Again, I don't know what the deal is there, because what did that lamb ever do to you? You had to go out, slaughter a lamb, and then paint its blood on the doorposts of your house. Could you imagine what the houses would look like throughout all of Israel and any of the Egyptians who also decided to do this because they had the option as well? Whole bunch of houses with blood smeared all over the doorposts and everything else. And then supposedly, Jehovah's angel is going to come out and kill each and every firstborn who lives in a house where they didn't bother to slaughter a lamb and paint the blood on the doorposts. So here, what we find is that Jehovah demonstrates that he is not above killing innocent people just to make a point. If you watch my series called Thinking Caps On, the Abraham and Isaac story, man, Jehovah even asked Abraham to offer up his only son as a sacrifice just to make an illustration of what he himself was going to do. It's really sick and twisted. But at any rate, all of the firstborn of Egypt are wiped out. And not only the firstborn of people, but even firstborn animals are also wiped out. Wow, like even animals? What did they do? Like, Jehovah, you really don't like your own creation, do you? It kind of comes across as a kid having a temper tantrum, and they've built something up and then they decide they don't like it, and so they just smash it to pieces just to spite themselves? No, that's not how a rational being behaves. At any rate, after this, everybody's allowed to go. It's time. And you're going to go out in the middle of the night. And not only that, but the Egyptians are paying the Israelites with gifts. Go on, get out of here. If this story was actually real, then yeah, if I was an Egyptian, I'd be like, yeah, just you know what? Any amount of money that I've got here, take my last toonie. You can have it. Just go before my second kid gets killed. So yeah, out the Israelites go. And they're happy to go. It's so great and wonderful. The Egyptians, well, their lives are ruined. Their children are dead. Livestock have been killed. Egypt is a barren wasteland. But, you know, yay, we're free! So then what do? They go off, heading north towards their promised land. And then proceed to backtrack. Why? Because Jehovah is not done showing off. He's got another little trick up his sleeve. Meanwhile, back in Egypt, Jannies and Jambries are now starting to gaslight on Pharaoh.
O mighty Pharaoh, over what will you now rule? The gods are unable to restore the life of your son, and all the Hebrews have run away. What will they say in Assyria when they hear that Egypt is a nation unable to hold on to its slaves?
O gods of Egypt, what is this we have done in that we have sent Israel away from slaving for us?
It is their God Jehovah who killed your son. It is their God Jehovah who has ruined Egypt. And who will repay Jehovah?
Jehovah, Jehovah. May I never hear that name again. No, 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 no.
So naturally, Pharaoh decides, well, they're useless as slaves, and I'm pissed off about my boy, as well you should be, Pharaoh. Let's go kill them all. So off they go, chasing after them. And what Watchtower Babble and Crap Society does here is an impressive feat of sound engineering with all of the horses and chariots and a bunch of dramatic music.
For the glory of Egypt! Kill them all! To Pyrus!
this drama actually devolves into is almost a sort of corny, cheesy action movie, cutting back and forth from one scene to another, with dramatic music in between each. You have the Egyptians chasing after the Israelites through the Red Sea. You have the Israelites that are afraid and everything else.
Do not be afraid, my brothers. Stand firm and see the salvation of Jehovah.
Stand firm and see the salvation of Jehovah! I can't quite put my finger on exactly what kind of accent Moses actually has. It doesn't sound very Jewish to me. I could be wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments. What does his accent sound like to you? I can't put my finger on it, but I know it was a whole lot of fun to do an imitation of that particular quote. That's got to be the soundbite from this particular drama. Now, as the Israelites are being chased through the Red Sea, Jehovah decides to really have some fun with Pharaoh and his army, taking wheels off of chariots, driving people with confusion. One of my most favorite bits from this particular scene is you have one Egyptian who kind of sounds like that freaked out nervous guy from Aliens.
Let us flee from any contact with Israel, because Jehovah certainly fights for them against the Egyptians. Let us retreat.
Game over, man. We're done, man. How can we fight against the heavens? Do you hear that? You can't unhear that now, can you?
Oh, save us, Pharaoh, save us! Oh, our gods!
Oh, save us, Pharaoh, save us!
Run away! Run away!
As a kid, I loved it. It was great. It was wonderful. Listening to it now, oof. There are some things that just don't hold up, and this is one of them. And then Jehovah, being the kind of God that he is, decides, well, now I'm going to get myself some glory. Parting the Red Sea. And it's quite a spectacle, really. I mean, we've seen it in the Bible Stories book, or is it the Bible Horrors book? There's been movies that have been made. Probably one of the most recent ones is The Prince of Egypt, where it was animated. It looked pretty amazing. The idea of the Israelites walking through the sea. Again, this is Jehovah, the narcissist, showing off what he can do. And he even admits it, that this is how he gets glory for himself, by decimating an entire army.
And the Egyptians will certainly know that I am Jehovah, when I get glory for myself by means of Pharaoh, his war chariots, and his cavalrymen.
It's a trap! Then you have this cowardly Egyptian and others that are having a lot of trouble driving their chariots through the sea. The wheels are coming off because Jehovah is just having fun. The Israelites finally make it on shore, and now it's time to flush the Egyptians. Sounds like a song title. At any rate, Jehovah tells Moses,
Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters may come back over the Egyptians, their war chariots, and their cavalrymen.
Jehovah!
And so it happens. The Israelites live, the Egyptians drowned. So after this story is over, what follows is our narrator coming back and explaining why they told us this really long and drawn-out story. It's all about the idea that nowadays, Jehovah will again show his power in behalf of all of his people. Cue the fear-mongering, cue the Armageddon talk. You get the picture. And finally, what drama would be complete without a show-stopping number? Wait, no, I don't like this version of the song. Let's call on Sister Fister. I like what she has to say a lot better. Take it away, Sister Fister.
It's basically a bunch of pacifists marching into battle, but whatever.
Sing to Jehovah, for he has become highly exalted.
Wait, he's the frickin' Almighty, isn't he? How is it that he's just now become highly exalted? And how can you highly exalt the Almighty anyway? Isn't he supposedly already at the very tippy top?
The horse and its rider he has preached into the sea.
Hey, what did that horse ever do to you, Jehovah? I'm going to need a reason for your just pitching him into the sea. I mean, I don't see the purpose here, or why it's supposed to inspire awe or majesty or whatever. The way it's written, it just sounds mean.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So there you go. That is the first episode of Your Childhood Drama. But this story about the Israelites is to be continued. Tune in again soon for part 2, where we will pick up right where this story leaves off and find out what happens to the Israelites wandering around the wilderness for 40 years.
Yo, here's a GPS! Who gets lost for 40 years?
Please, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't also forget to ring the notification bell so that you are notified when new videos such as this one are uploaded. Until next time, this has been Your Childhood Drama.